Welcome back to Footy Classified, and it's time for Ross the Boss. And Ross, we're going to take a look at the young coaches that are in the industry at the moment. We've got these guys, obviously Matthew Nicks doing it tough at the moment, Justin Longmuir, both yet to have a win, plus obviously David Teague and Rhyce Shaw. We got a taste of it last year, but firstly, your experience in your first year, you're 4-7.
Well, often I say no one could have stuffed it up more than I did in my first year. I think, 4-7. I was trying to keep everyone happy and hadn't embedded an effective game plan. And the media were coming. I was very inexperienced and wasn't reacting in the manner I probably should have in leading the club as expected of a senior coach. OK, well, we'll take a look at their win-loss record at the moment, Ross, and what the ladder position is and where their list was ranked. Yeah, well, we're trying to give you context. On the right is the champion data ranking off their points, the quality of the list. And funnily enough, it aligns their ladder position to where their list was ranked at the start of the year, and it's reflected in the win-loss. Both Shaw and Teague had a better understanding of their list, so they should be better placed and embedding the game plan. And obviously we've got the two, what we term learners really, and a really challenging period of COVID and lack of continuity to get a game plan in. But the real challenge here, and my mistake was, and there was a boom on the Saints expected to win, every week it's a must-win game and you must win and you're worrying about the result. The players feel that. The best thing that these can... the biggest challenge in AFL football, let go of results. Yeah. Even grand final day, it's your biggest challenge. Let go of the result and focus on what gets you playing really good football. And they need to embed a signature game style. Well, let's take a look at it, Ross. You've taken a look at what their signature styles are, and you know what Rhyce Shaw's is, don't you? Yeah, really interesting. Yeah. Really strong contested ball team, third in the comp, strong defensively, fourth. And in his own words, a front half team. So to me, they've got the strongest signature at the minute. And Carlton's not far behind, but the actual opposite. They're an uncontested, attacking team, which to David Teague's credit, he spoke about pre-season on radio. They're the 5th attack in the league, and they do it on skill and kick mark. Where they're falling into trouble in the early rounds, teams that bring real pressure haven't unravelled them. But they're an 18th defence, or around 16, and they need to find a bit of a balance. But it was striking the way they played last week at Canadian Park. Whereas the Dockers and really Adelaide, we can't get a definable game style out of them yet. And in Justin Longmuir's words, one week we're fixing this, the next week we're fixing the other. So his ability to embed a game style is a bit thin. They're both in the bottom echelons in all categories, defence, attack and contest, but they can't panic. They need to embed what they're trying to do. And let's look at the Crows list, Ross. We touched on the Bulldogs, how quickly it changed for them last year, or since they've won a premiership. And the Crows, a lot of players who played in that grand final that still played the other day. Well, there's 14 still on their list. 11 played, and there's some real quality in there. The players that are gone, what struck me is the value of a key defender and a young, established key defender, 2 electric small forwards, 1 more at the back end, and a quality ruckman. The other guys have retired, and an inside mid that I think is replaceable. And it's interesting, Hardigan was a 3rd tall defender. So I think they've got the bones to be able to bounce. Yeah. But it's going to be a challenge. They need to get their dynamic and their spirit right and a definable game style. Another aspect of coaching is how you handle the media. And I want to get your take here, Ross, on how Matthew Nicks handled the media when talking about Tex Walker.
Would Taylor Walker be safe at selection?
I mean, we had 18 marks against on the weekend. I don't know if that's a record, but it'd be right up there. We're asking a lot at this point of Tex and Darcy Fogarty as our keys. Those guys are helping out in the ruck. It's more than just bringing in a tall forward of the ball, but to probably come back and answer your question. Tex at this point in time is struggling to get that job done forward of the ball. Ross, I'll ask you as a coach, should he have left that to inside the club and not bring that out in the media? If it's calculated, Malcolm Blyke, Pittman, pathetic Pittman, but it's too early in my view. It's a whole team, whole list, whole club situation. He needs to affirm Taylor Walker. Taylor's a star and can play. He needs some supply. The midfield and the defence need to get working. I would affirm him. This is what you're capable of. This is what we need you to do. Yeah. And everyone help each other. And keep him forward in the forward line? For sure. Yeah, and clearly he's too old to be going to the centre square bounce ruck. It's a young man's game in there. I believe in you, Tex. We'll deliver it. You do this and keep it really simple. Now, your captain, who you've got a great relationship with, Nathan Fyfe. Kane Cornes had some strong things to say about him on Monday night. Let's take a listen.
I want to look at the other Perth-based side, and that is Fremantle. I think Nat Fyfe gets away with too many instances like this. I'm highlighting him and Sam Powell-Pepper. Look at the time of the game. Look at the score. We know you're a great player, Nat Fyfe, but that is a deplorable effort from a captain of a football club. And whilst we focus on his brilliance, too many times he gets away with incidences like that.
Well, I've broken this down from my lens and as if I was coaching Nat Fyfe, and I think he's out of line, Kane.
Okay. Yep.
And we want to, if we have a look at this, we'll let it run, pause the vision. If we stop it there, the Dockers, they're cover players, what we would call wicket keepers. Their job on the inside, it gets very messy. There's been a block, a handover, could have been better, but their job is to stop anything that comes through the front. The other thing is Rory lobbed a Rockman against the key forward. Is on the wrong side, should be defensive side. He allows a long hit to the outside. Griffin Logue as the wicketkeeper is too close. Andy Brayshaw has a chance to tidy up Powell. And then Griffin Logue, when you have a chance to bend down and pick up the ball, you halve the contest and don't let it through. So it's easy to critique Nathan, and I find it ironic because we're all talking about attacking football. There's no better offensive player and ball hunter in the competition, yet we want to destroy him when 3 other players don't do their job.
Is he part of the problem, though, there, Fyfe?
He had a little bit,
Yeah.
but I would coach it, you know what, inside you could have handed over better, but you set up outside to cover those errors. So the ruck work and the cover players and the lack of competing killed their captain.
Great, Ross. Moving on to Carlton. Now, David Teague under a lot of pressure after obviously starting poorly in the first couple of rounds. But what does this do for David Teague and a young group of Carlton?
Well, it builds belief. So talk about confidence, you can't buy it, it comes from action. What's the action? They've gone down to one of the toughest grounds in Australia against a top flight side and delivered against all odds. So he gets belief in his system, the players believe in his direction, and they attack their next game really ready to go.
And you loved their ball movement, Ross, and the way they transferred the ball and they exposed the Geelong defence, I thought, the other night.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Geelong didn't apply the heat that they should have, but this is Carlton. So Melbourne found out if you give them a leg rope and you want to turn it over, they can slice you quickly. But their challenge has been teams that have bought the heat, they've struggled to handle it. So Hawthorn, short kicks, uncontested ball, handled the fiercest heat. They're a young team. If they can develop to handle the heat, well, they've got a great game style.
Carlton or Essendon this weekend?
I think Essendon's defence will challenge them, although 15 days off, I would think Carlton feeling bulletproof will get it done.
Over to you, Ed. Ross the boss for this weekend.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that, guys. Particularly the Nat Fyfe analysis there. It was eye-opening. Really good. Thanks, guys. You can come back next week, Ross. Okay. Good job.